Is this the world's best walking simulator? I'm not trying to be a clickbait here or snarky, I actually mean it in the most genuine way possible. Yes, this is aimed to be a flight simulator, but Microsoft have created a digital twin of Earth and allowed us to walk around it on foot. So what does that mean? Well, first things first, I'm aware of the massive launch problems that the sim had. I made a video on it a few days ago, so I'm not downplaying all of this, but things are starting to work better at the moment. We can see over on Steam, the score is slowly starting to get better, overwhelmingly negative on the 19th, now mostly negative with a score of 30%, so yeah, not good, but it's getting better. At any rate, this video is not about all of that, but I wanted to get it out the way up front because I know in the comments a lot of people are going to be talking about it and slating me if I don't mention it. At any rate, the goal of this video is to see what the sim is like when walking around. To start with then, I'm going to walk up the iconic local hill right near to where I live called Rosebery Topping. This has a commanding view when you're at the top over a huge chunk of northern England. I've climbed this hill many times in the real world and yeah, it actually looks pretty close here. It's certainly much better than what we saw in the previous iteration of Flight Sim. What was also immediately noticeable to me is the plant life. We've got some purple heather here as well as some white heather. This particular region is famous for having purple heather. There's absolutely loads of it around about June and July here during the year. So very nice to see that is accurately represented here in the sim. As we get near the top, one thing that's not accurate is the hay bales at the top of the hill. Firstly, no idea how they would get up here to start with. Secondly, I guess it would be, somewhat interesting if we could actually push them down the hill. At any rate, at the top of the hill is not quite what we'd expect to see in reality. There's far less trees at the top and a lot less grass, but the overall shape and the overall view here is actually pretty accurate. And yeah, whilst it's not 100% accurate, this isn't GTA 6, so we shouldn't be expecting quite that level of detail. At any rate, the view from up here is pretty spectacular, and it's very, very similar to what you'd find if you're at the top of this hill. Here's a photo I took earlier in the year when I was up there myself. Not too bad, right, as a general comparison. Now, the other thing I wanted to do was take a look at some of the wildlife around here. Flight Sim 2024 is supposedly got a whole ton of wildlife, but it's actually pretty difficult to find. Got a little bit lucky here with a field full of cows. Whilst the models are actually pretty nice, one thing that doesn't seem quite right is their size, and unless there is a species of cows that is quite as small as these, they do seem to be a little bit undersized, as we can see right here. Now, I realise some people may find this video a little bit on the strange side. I mean, walking around, looking for animals, taking photos. I mean, how does this fit into the overall ethos of a flight sim? Well, for me, it's very much about exploration. Whilst, like many people, I do enjoy flying planes, I do enjoy the simulation side and aspect of it. Another thing that I like even more is exploring Earth, the ability to just check out all the scenery. We live on a beautiful place, and it's just nice to be able to get out and take a look at all the different locations. And now we can actually do that in ever more detail. Here's a random jungle that's somewhere in Africa. Easily to simply land at a random spot and just take a bit of a walk. Nice to see such a difference in flora and fauna as you make your way around the planet. Now, to be perfectly honest, I'm pretty surprised that Microsoft have gone to this level to include this type of gameplay in the sim. I mean, after all, getting out and walking around, we do have an avatar to do that. Been given a full-on camera and pretty much everything else to go along with it, including the different types of missions that take you on these type of activities. Now, for those of you that need more convincing that this is the type of playstyle that Microsoft were aiming for, here is the worldwide photography. We have Animals Worldwide Collection, where we can check out the animals around the world. And yes, the intent is, in some cases, for us to do that on foot, as you'll see in a moment. Now, the grids here represent the population of the animals in these locations. Green here represents a very low population. Actually haven't managed to find any Asian elephants just yet. But in reference to what I was mentioning just now, being on foot, look at the main objective. Main objective, photograph an Asian elephant in close-up while on foot, in a full family group. So yeah, Flight Sim 2024 is very much about being on foot, at least a big chunk of it. That is very much Microsoft's intent. Now, if you want to go out and photograph some of these animals, there's a whole range of them. And again, you can look for population density if that may help you find some of these things. They've been very elusive as far as I've been able to find. I haven't found any of these larger type of animals, any of these type of more rare animals. Cows, sheep, plenty of them around. Elephants and tigers, meanwhile, are far more elusive. Okay, moving away from nature, let's check out some man-made objects. We're here on Tenerife, and we're going to look at the Tenerife Concert Hall. Again, don't go expecting GTA 6 level of graphics here. Heck, not even GTA 4, don't expect that. Because, yeah, that's not what this sim is about. But the fact we can even do this, check out all of these locations down on the surface, is very, very nice indeed. Now, I do see a number of comments sometimes in other videos, what's the point of doing this when you have Google Earth? Well, with Google Earth, you don't have this level of detail. You don't have airplanes and other things that you can fly around and interact with these areas in. You also don't have other options such as career mode for airplanes and building a business. You don't have photography options or even landing challenges. All of that is of course included in the sim. So right here we have the Tenerife Concert Hall, and it is actually very accurate, as you'll see with the comparison photos in just a moment. The surrounding area, less so. It's more about seeing the main concert hall here, because obviously most of this you'll be seeing from up high, but you know, we do have a pretty good level of detail. Now I'm going to quickly jump into Google Earth here, or Google Maps at the very least, so we can get a street level comparison. Let's just position the camera here and see if we can find a similar view over on Google Maps. And there we have it, a very good comparison. I don't think there's anything to complain about with there. A few obvious details missing, such as the tower in the distance and some buildings off to the right. Obviously the sea defences on the left as well are somewhat missing, but overall I think this looks really good, again considering the nature of what this is meant to be. Now jumping out of the walking around mode and into the free flight cam, we're going to take a look at the opposite side of the concert hall, positioned roughly around here, and again, you know, not a bad comparison, is it? Obviously the big buildings on the right are missing, not quite the level of detail I would like to see on the ground. This level here would be far nicer, but I guess we can't expect miracles. Nice enough that we have even this level of detail. Moving over to another nearby island, we've got this lovely basin, this big crater I guess it is. I'm going to take a bit of a look at it here in Microsoft Flight Simulator and do another comparison as well. Now of course, when I have more time, what I would be doing here would be walking around the edge of this crater and having a look, and also jumping into the vehicle here and having a bit of a fly around. Personally, for me, I really do like this type of gameplay. I've always liked exploring environments within any game, so the ability to do this and jump into a vehicle, an aircraft, and explore the area further is a really nice touch. Now again, I know not everyone is going to be playing a Flight Sim 2024 for this. Many of you, of course, pick up Flight Sim 2024 for the planes and the overall flight experience. My feelings on this is that having these particular features in the sim doesn't detract from the overall flight experience. This is in addition to, rather than instead of. That said, I'm sure some of you disagree with me on this. Some of you may strongly disagree. Whatever your feelings on it though, whether you enjoy this, and hopefully some of you do, or whether you think it really shouldn't be in the sim, hasn't got any place in the sim, do please let me know in the comments section below, because I'd love to hear from you. Do get that conversation going. I'd really be very interested to see what you all have to say. So I think that is where we'll wrap this video up. I'm going to get back into the air again and fly around this little crater, see what I can find. Meanwhile, do check out the other video on the screen right here. Thanks for watching this one all the way through. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.